Okay. So just to introduce myself to you, in case you don't know who I am or what this group is, I am Stacy Shefka. I am the ministries leader here for our health ministries team, which we call New Beginnings Health Team of Brighton, because we're here in Brighton, Michigan. We're actually a ministry of the Brighton Seventh-day Adventist Church that is here near the Brighton High School at 228 South 4th Street. And we have for the last quite a few years been doing health programs here in the Brighton area, Livingston County. And I am surrounded by a great team of ladies who work with me. And I want to introduce them to you tonight so that you will know them. And if you have any questions or anything as we're going through, feel free to put that in the chat and one of them will be able to probably answer that for you if it's related to any of our events or such. So I'm just going to introduce them to you first. I'm going to start with Kim because I see her first on my screen. So Kim, and you'll probably have to unmute yourself. Tell us who you are and tell us where you're at right now.
Yeah, my name's Kim Ahern. I am part of the health team at with Stacy, and actually right now I am in Melbourne Beach, Florida, and they've graciously let me use the boardroom to do this call because it's the internet is just a little bit that it's slow here, especially at the upper levels. But yeah, so that's where I'm at, and I love health, and I'm so glad everybody could join tonight.
Yeah. So we're all kind of wishing we were in Florida, although we had a very nice day today. It was almost 50 degrees and it was sunny. It was awesome. All right, the next member of my team is Janet. And Janet, just tell us where you're from. Okay, Janet is muted. There, go ahead, Janet.
Now, I'm in South Lyon, Michigan, and my mother lives in Melbourne Beach, Florida, where Kim is, and Kim is going to go visit my 89-year-old mother on Saturday. So
Aww.
Thank you, Kim, for checking up on her.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm happy to be here tonight.
We're happy to have you here too. All right, Mary Lou is also on my team. And Mary Lou, tell us where you're from and tell us what you do for work. You're muted, Mary Lou.
Mute. Okay. Am I on?
Yes.
Hear me? Okay. I'm Mary Lou. I live in Brighton, real close to the church. And for a living, I run a cafe and a health club, which at this point in time is not doing very well because of COVID. But I have been doing that since 2000, so over 20 years.
Yeah.
I've been running cafes in fitness clubs.
So she loves health, which makes her the perfect person to have on my team. And my last team member is Sue. And Sue, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hi, my name is Sue, and I live in Brighton also, close by the church. I can't get my video to come on. Oh, there we go. So you can see me. Did that work? Yes, now you can see me. Yes, I live in Brighton, like I said. Some machines that are going to be picked up in the morning. And for a living, I work for my husband, who has a health office, and I do the paperwork.
There we go. So she has an interest in health as well. So this is my team, and let me just tell you a little bit about what we do. Every month we do an event, and right now we're doing those events all virtually, and they're on Zoom. So last month we did a cooking class, a virtual cooking class. It was holiday recipes, and you're in your kitchen cooking, and we're in our kitchens cooking, and we all have the same recipe, and we're making it together. And it's a lot of fun. And our next one will be in January, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. And then the other months in between, we do these Health Connection Meetups like we're doing right now, which is more on a health topic and just a time to kind of connect together and also learn something about how to improve our health. So every month it's always on the second Thursday of the month. So if you want to just put that on your calendar going forward, you can join us every month. All of our classes that we do are for the purpose of helping you grow in holistic health. We really like to focus on holistic health. And by that, I mean mind, body, and spirit. We believe that God doesn't just care about our physical well-being, but also our mental, emotional well-being, and our spiritual well-being. And so in all of our programs, we want people to come away feeling learning things to be physically healthier, have a more emotional health, and draw closer to God. Because we believe that the Bible teaches us that God wants us to have an abundant life, and we want you all to experience abundance too. So that's the purpose of all the programs that we do. So let me tell you about what's coming up, so you can get these on your calendar. So on January 14th is our next program. This is going to be our cooking class. So we will send you the recipes and the ingredient list. You get them all ahead of time, and then that night we cook in the kitchen. But the topic is going to be on immune boosting foods. So we're in a time right now where immunity is very important. And so we are going to be talking about how to boost our immune system. And we're going to give you some recipes that have a lot of antioxidants and things in them. They'll be yummy, but also help you to be healthy. And then our next class, which will be our next Health Connection Meetup, is going to be in February, on February the 11th, the second Thursday of February. And that one is also going to be on the topic of immunity, but it's going to be more on the scientific side. So it's going to be more of a presentation. We're going to be looking at how our immune system works and what you can do to strengthen it. And we're going to try and make this very practical, where we're going to be sharing with you things that we do in our own homes and our own families to help keep our own immune system up and to help us get well quicker if we do get sick. So it's going to be very practical. So put those two on your calendar and plan on joining them. We'll be sending out a flyer about that and emailing that out as well. So, but go ahead and plan on joining us for those two events. Now, a couple of announcements as we're getting started here. And the first one is all the free little handouts we sent you. So in your emails, we sent you some little pamphlets in digital format. One was called, and my virtual backdrop is not wanting to see this. I guess I have to hold it up to my nose. Help for Loneliness was one of them. And then one of them was Depression, Beating the Blues. And another one was called Lessons on Loss. And then we sent out a handout that covers a lot of the material I'm going to share tonight. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's on how to create healthful holidays. So those were all the digital handouts that we sent and attached into your email. But we also told you about a couple free gifts we would like to mail you if you have sent us your mailing address. So many of you have, some of you may not have. So if you send a chat to anyone who says host or co-host, probably sent to one of the co-hosts, and just type in your mailing address, we will mail you a holiday cookbook. Well, it has a lot of holiday recipes. I don't know if you can see that. It has like 25 different plant-based recipes, and we'd love to send this little cookbook to you for free. And we also have a little devotional related to this time of year that we will include as well, and the flyer for our next two health events. So make sure you get us your mailing address, or you can email it to us at mbhealthteam@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that we mail those off to you as our little Christmas gift to you. Now, the last two things I want to mention announcement-wise is we have a Facebook page. It's called New Beginnings Health Team. If you just look for that, we post recipes on there. We post announcements about our upcoming events, different health tips, and the videos also from our recordings, which leads me to the last one is we have a YouTube channel. And if you just look up New Beginnings Health Team there as well, you can find the recording from our last cooking class we did on holiday dishes. We made a delicious pumpkin cheesecake and a stuffed acorn squash. So you can find those, that video of that class, and the upcoming ones that we will have as well. So with all of those things, I want to have a prayer before we begin into our presentation tonight. So if you would bow your heads with me. Dear God, I want to thank you so much for this chance to meet with all these lovely ladies and gentlemen tonight and to talk about health, especially mental health and physical health and spiritual health. Lord, bless this class, and may we all learn some very practical things that we can apply in our lives this holiday season. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, tell me if you can see my slides.
Yes.
Awesome. Very good.
Yes, I can see him.
Yes.
Okay, so at this time, what I want to share is our presentation is called Navigating the Holidays with Success. And I love the holidays. Christmas has always been my favorite time of year. I love the lights. I love the neighborhood caroling. And yes, our church does that. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that this year, but we typically do. I love the music programs. I love the hot drinks. I love a good holiday movie. I like taking gifts to people who don't expect to get it. I love those favorite holiday dishes and the family time. It's usually a very happy time of year. But like the rest of 2020 has been, this holiday season may seem very different for you. It's definitely feeling different for me. And we're all trying to adjust to the changes that have left us maybe feeling stressed, sad, and lonely. And perhaps 2020 has been a really hard year for you. And now that we're moving into this holiday season when it's supposed to be the happiest season of all, and when all is merry and bright, you might not be feeling very merry and bright. Or maybe life still feels pretty normal for you and you're just caught up in the frenzy and the stress of this holiday and all the abundance of food that you know you shouldn't be eating. So in this presentation, we're going to look at some of these challenges that are going to give you some really practical things you can do to have a healthy and a positive holiday experience. The 3 areas we're going to focus on are stress, loss, and the resulting sadness, a loneliness, and food temptations. So is this Christmas for you a time of joy, celebration, and excitement, a time of stress, a time of loneliness, sadness, and anxiety? Or is it time when you lose self-control when you're surrounded by so much food? You see, the emotions that we have will trigger the behavior that we manifest. We might lose sleep or stop exercising. We might make unhealthful food choices. We might withdraw from others. Or we might be stressed out and on edge and lose our patience. So we're going to look at our behaviors and the feelings that trigger those, and we're going to see what we can do to change our feelings and behaviors so that we have a positive and a healthy holiday experience, because that's what I want you all to have. So let's talk first about holiday stress. Do you find the holidays to be a stressful time of year? If so, why? What are some typical stressors you encounter this time of year? So someone respond, tell me, a couple of you tell me something that you find as a typical stressor. Maybe you're already feeling it or you normally feel it this time of year.
Having money for the holidays to spend.
Okay, that can be a tough one, right? All that extra presents you have to buy. All right, anyone else?
Trying to do too much.
Okay, yeah, it seems like there's lots of extra things on our calendar this time of year, doesn't there? Okay, what's another one?
Getting the help to just get the tree up and get the stuff, get the furniture moved around in the areas so that we can just get things done. They want it done, but they expect me to do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're talking about the decorating stress.
Yeah, just everything. They want everything done, but nobody wants to help do it.
I understand. Okay, what's another one someone might have?
Get the right present.
Yeah, that can be a stress, isn't it? Like I go to my list and I'm like, okay, what am I going to buy for this person? Or this person's really hard to shop for. Yeah, that can be pretty stressful. And then just getting to the mall and or the stores and fighting the traffic. And there's so much extra things stressing us this time of year. The traffic, the crowds, all the food prep. If you're traveling, travel can be stressful. Um, and then think about after the holidays are over and you have all of that stress of the credit card bills, or maybe all the weight gain you gained, or maybe you got sick because of all the sugar you ate it. That can be stress too. So this is typically, they say, the number one time of year when heart attacks and strokes happen. Now, I don't think that's only because of stress. I'm sure diet and other things might be factoring into that, but I imagine the stress doesn't help with that. And then this year, you add the whole COVID thing on top of this. I was reading that the American Psychological Association found that nearly 80% of adults in the US say that the coronavirus pandemic has been a significant source of stress in their lives. And I know some of you mentioned that as I was, we were going through that little presentation earlier. And the American Psychiatric Association found that 62% of Americans feel more anxious this year than they did this time last year. So that means that the stress that we would normally feel this time of year is now exacerbated by the stress that COVID also adds to the picture. So let's think through stress here for a moment. And I'm going to give you 3 things to do to help you as you're thinking about the stress you might be feeling. It's important to first be aware of the stress we are feeling by asking the question, am I feeling stressed right now? Can you even recognize when you're getting overloaded? If you don't acknowledge that you're feeling stressed and you ignore or suppress it, it can bottle up and then explode. But if you're aware of the stress you're feeling, you can then form priorities and set boundaries and make changes and adopt new attitudes. So that's why it's important to first be aware. And then it's helpful to clarify and ask yourself, why am I feeling stressed, anxious, or worried? And then once you kind of say, well, it's because of this thing or that thing, then ask 3 follow-up questions. Is it in my control? If yes, do something about it. Like maybe you just need to say no, or maybe you need to put some boundaries up. But maybe it's something you can't control. And so in that case, you just have to let go and maybe give it to God. You know, there's some things that we can change and there's some things that we can't. Another good follow-up question is it truthful? So sometimes we tell ourselves things like, I'll just give you an example. If I don't make the perfect holiday meal, I'm going to die and it's just going to be the worst Christmas ever. Now, is that a truthful statement?
No.
No, it's not. So sometimes we say things to ourselves that create stress for us that's just really not true. And we need to just change our thoughts so that we're more balanced in how we're relating to things. And then the third question, follow-up question is it helpful? So I might be stressed because I can't be with my family this year. And that's a truthful stress. But is it helpful to keep dwelling on that and feeling sad and becoming depressed about it?
No.
So those are the 3 good follow-up questions. Is it in my control? Is it truthful? And is it helpful? And then the third thing about thinking through your stress is expressing it. Who can I talk to about my stress, anxiety, or worry? You see, when we don't address the stress, it can start to build up, like they said, and then you can explode. So it's important to express how you're feeling with someone. So that could be a family member or a trusted friend. You can even talk to God about it in prayer. Now, if the stress becomes chronic, you may want to reach out to a pastor or a therapist because anxiety has a lot of physical and mental health ramifications. And you may need to get some extra support, and it's okay to do that. Now, let's talk about setting realistic expectations because the expectations we have for the holidays sometimes can add a lot of the extra stress we're feeling. So if you ever watched a Hallmark Christmas movie, you know what all the expectations are for the perfect holiday. picking out the perfect Christmas tree, making your own homemade decorations, tons of baking cookies with the whole family present, attending a community Christmas tree lighting, or hosting lots of family and friends with lots of food and all those romantic moments by the fire. So that's what you're told you need to have in your Christmas experience to have the right Christmas. But how much of that is really realistic? It's not, right? It's a movie. So we have to be realistic about our expectations of the holidays and to not feel guilty or sad if we can't accomplish everything that we think we should at the holidays. And just because there is an expectation doesn't mean it's the right expectation for you. Now this year, we also have expectations that are not realistic because of the whole COVID thing we're going through. So this photo, I think, sums up a lot of this year. You have a face mask on the laptop and you have a Zoom presentation. Last year at Christmas time, we didn't know really about either of these things. But this year, it's become part of our life. So this year, you would love to be with your family maybe, and you can't go out of state to grandma's house. Maybe you can't have the big holiday gathering you had always done in years past. Maybe you've always gone to a holiday concert. I try to go to a holiday concert every year. This year, there aren't any holiday concerts that I can go to. Maybe you did Christmas tree lightings, but they're not doing that. So there's all these things that you've done in the past, but you can't anymore. And this might be a Zoom Christmas with family and friends that you can't get together with. So all those things, you have to be realistic about what you can do this holiday. Now, after setting realistic expectations, another thing that can add stress is, first of all, let me say to this, be willing to not do the expected. So let me just give you 2 examples of this from just my own experience. Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you always have those like great specials that run those 2 times. Well, this year, and I have in the past done some shopping on those days, but this year I was just finding it too stressful to participate in that. There were other things that were more important happening in my life at that time. And so I chose to spend those days working on the projects I wanted to and I needed to, and not feel guilty that I was missing out on all the deals that were out there. So be willing to not do necessarily the expected. Another one I'm dealing with this year is I often like to make homemade gifts for family members. And I've done it the past couple of years, but I'm becoming more realistic this year that I may not have time to do that this year. And it's okay if I have to go buy a gift. So we have to sometimes set realistic expectations so we're not creating extra stress upon ourselves. Now, another area of stress to help you handle is your calendar. So don't schedule too much into your December calendar and don't try to cram too much into every day. And when you're gonna go places, plan some extra time because it can be very stressful and frustrating when you're running late and you're getting there late and all those things. So give yourself extra time and you'll be more relaxed when you show up and more in control when you do get there. Now, another area of stress we talked about was finances. So watch your spending. Personal financial debt, especially credit card debt, is one of the greatest stressors. And at the holidays, it is easy to overspend. So do your research to find the best price. Don't buy on impulse. And remember that it only adds to stress to lie in bed at night wondering how you're going to pay for all those holiday bills. So instead, remember, you don't have to buy happiness with an avalanche of gifts. And you can do other little things like donate to a charity in someone's name, or give a homemade gift, or start a family gift exchange where each person is just giving one gift to one person. You can do other things that might help you to stick within your budget. And then focus on the priorities. The holidays are often focused on things like gifts and food and activities rather than those in our lives, family, friends, God, and even ourselves. So remember, it isn't what you do, it's who you do it with. It isn't the amount of things you do, it's the quality time spent with those you love. So don't get caught up in things and neglect the most important relationships with your family, friends, and God. And then take time for physical, mental, and spiritual renewal. Do things that give your brain and body a refreshing change. And I'm not talking about sitting down and just vegging on the couch watching TV, because that's not necessarily renewal. I'm talking about things that really bring physical, mental, and spiritual renewal. So let me give you some examples. It might be go with a family member and drive around the neighborhoods looking at the Christmas lights. Or sitting in your living room with only the Christmas lights on and some candles burning and listen to soft Christmas music while drinking some peppermint tea. Or get out a Bible and read the Christmas story from the Gospel of Luke. Or bundle up and go for a walk and take in some deep breaths, or go at night and stargaze. Or maybe try a new workout. Or attend a Christmas worship service, either in person if your church is doing that, or virtually. So those are some ways that you really will be renewed, and it will help you deal with the stress of this time of year. Now, sometimes you cannot avoid a stressful situation. You have to go Christmas shopping, you got to fight the crowds and the traffic, or there's a family gathering where you know there could be some tension. So choose ahead of time how you're going to relate to those anticipated stressful situations. Mentally kind of rehearse what you can do. And I'm going to give you a few tips that can help you if you're going to go into a stressful situation. The first is decide which issues are worth engaging your physical, emotional, and mental energy, and which ones are better left alone or related to in a low-key manner. Then pray before you go, asking God for wisdom to handle the situation. Choose to stay calm. In Proverbs 17:14, it says, "The beginning of strife is like releasing water. Therefore, stop contention before a quarrel starts." So by choosing to stay calm, it might diffuse a situation before it even begins. Decide to set aside grievances until a more appropriate time for discussion. Don't get into arguments when you're together with family and you're supposed to be having a good time together. And finally, look at the big picture. Try to find the positives in every situation and resist that temptation to go mountain climbing over molehills. So those are just some little practical things that might help you as you're dealing with a family situation or a stressful situation you know you might be in, to help you to go into it planning with success. Now, another great way to handle holiday stress, and really stress at any time of year, is to implement the 8 Doctors of Health. Now, you may not be heard of these before, but they spell the word New Start, and it's an acronym. So they're just 8 simple doctors that God gave us. The first one is nutrition. So eat nutritious food at this time of year at regular meal times. It will help lower your stress, boost your immune system, and punctuate your busy day with pleasure and satisfaction. It will reduce cravings for unhealthful snacks between meals. Also, avoid eating on the run. Battling indigestion is a poor way to get through your day. So have scheduled times to eat and sit down and actually enjoy your meal. Plan a wholesome breakfast, a fiber-rich lunch, and a light, healthful supper at the end of the day. Now, the next one is exercise. When you're busy and stressed, physical activity can get crowded out. But this is your secret holiday weapon. It can help make up for eating more than usual, because you might get a few more calories in this month. So getting some exercise can help to mitigate that, and it will help reduce your stress. So get moving with friends or family. Go out for a walk after a meal. Go for a bike ride. Today I was able to squeeze in a run, enjoy the sunshine and a little bit warmer temperatures. So do whatever you can to get moving. And then drink your water. Drink plenty of water between your meals. Keep the blood free flowing. It'll help with that nutrient transport. And drinking plenty of water instead of caffeinated beverages will keep you alert naturally and help you avoid fatigue and irritability. Now, S stands for sunshine. Vitamin D is great for immune health. We'll talk more about that in February in our class on immunity. But getting out in the sunshine, even on a cold day, will boost your mood. And I know we're coming into the winter months, we don't get as much sunshine. So every time there is sunshine, make sure you try to get out, bundle up, and get out in that sun. Now, T stands for temperance, and temperance is saying no to what's harmful and saying yes and moderation to what is good. Because even the good things we want to eat in balance. A stands for air. Fresh air gives life and vitality. So get outside in the fresh air every day, take in some deep breaths. Try some deep breathing. It can really help to reverse anxiety and reduce your heart rate and your blood pressure. And then R stands for rest. Going out more and staying out later often means cutting back on your sleep. And just a few hours of sleep loss a week could lower your immune system and elevate your stress hormone levels. And it can also make your blood sugar control more difficult. So a good night's sleep will help your body and mind recharge and refocus each new day. So determine how much sleep you need and make sure you go get it. And then go to bed early. Don't stay up late watching TV and movies every night. Make sure you get a good night's rest. And the last letter, T, stands for trust in God. And we are told in the Bible that we can come to God with anything that's making us anxious or worried or stressed and talk to him about it. In Philippians 4, 6, and 7, it says, don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. And then in 1 Peter 5, 7, it says that we can cast all our anxiety on him because he cares for you. God cares for you. In fact, here at Christmas time, we're remembering how Jesus came. And the whole reason he came was to experience the worst kind of stress and anxiety that you could experience. And that was on the cross so that we could experience peace. He wants to carry your stress. So talk to God about what's on your heart and what's causing you stress. And he will help release and relieve you of that stress that you're feeling. He's a true friend. So those are some of the tips about stress. And let's now move to talking about loss and sadness, because this has been a difficult year. And I personally have experienced some loss this year in ways I didn't anticipate, definitely didn't see it coming. So how do we deal with sadness and disappointment and what should be otherwise a very happy time of the year? So what are some of the losses that we have experienced in 2020? There's been a loss of security, a loss of normalcy, a loss of freedom, a loss of finances, a loss of jobs, loss of social connection, and many have even experienced the loss of a loved one. And all those losses have taken an emotional, psychological, and physical toll on us. And the result has been a societal rise in anxiety, depression, and sadly, even suicide. This year, I have personally experienced several losses. In April, I lost my job. I lost a home I was living in, and that was back when we had to move midsummer. And I lost my country property I enjoyed so much. I had a 5-year anniversary trip to Switzerland that got canceled due to COVID. So I lost that trip. My parents had to move out of state because my dad lost his job. So I lost family members. And then last week, a very close friend of mine from church died from cancer. So I've been dealing with a lot of loss this year. And I know some of you have also been dealing with loss. And some of you at the beginning told in our little meet greet time about some of the losses you experienced. I know one of you lost your brother. Someone mentioned losing a couple close friends, losing connections with people and moves. So you have all experienced some kind of loss this year. One of those I know it must at least resonate with you. So how do we deal with loss? Well, loss is part of life. It's the hardest part. It can leave us feeling deeply hurt, angry, and sad. And it's okay to grieve your loss and to even cry. You can do so genuinely and unapologetically. Give yourself permission to mourn your loss. If someone close to you has recently died, or you can't be with loved ones for some reason, realize it's normal to feel sad and grief. It's okay to take time. It's actually very healthy to even cry. It helps your body to release some of those emotions. So don't feel guilty for feeling sad or feeling that pain. It's how we are created. Even God has felt pain, and even Jesus wept. Now, at the holidays, you may not have the emotional strength to socialize with everyone and join in all the celebrations. You may not feel like having a great time because of the loss that you're feeling if it's very painful, and that's okay. Give yourself space, but also make a choice that you won't just isolate in grief and loss. Leaning too deeply into that negativity can ground you in it for longer than you should and longer than you'd like. And it can end up turning into depression, and it can create a lot of other physical and mental effects that are not good. So while you want to give yourself some time, you don't want to stay there forever. The truth is that you can heal from loss. Healing from loss is not quick, it's not easy, but it is possible. Trust that you can and will heal. Believe the day will come when you will be able to remember your loss without overwhelming pain. It takes time because grief over loss usually involves a progression of emotions that ebb and flow. The course of grief is traced by numbness and shock, feelings of despair, anger, loss, and helplessness. Every griever walks through that valley, but beyond that, there is hope. And I want you to find that hope and that purpose and plan that God has for your life. So I want to just share a little testimony or story from this last Saturday. As I said, a dear friend of mine just passed away last week. We were close and we had spent a lot of time together. And I was just feeling really down that afternoon. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't even really want to hang out with my husband. I just wanted to kind of be by myself. And the tears, are just like under the surface. They just feel like they're going to come out any moment. But I didn't want to just curl up on my bed and just cry all afternoon because I knew that wasn't really healthy either. So I decided just to keep myself busy doing something and to do something that might end up blessing somebody else. So at church, we had talked about these little gift baggies that we could make at Christmas time and pass out. And so I made one. You can see it here. It's there you go. It just says, may you find joy in Jesus this Christmas season. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. It has a mint for the O part of the joy. And then there's a little tract inside that says a gift for you. And I put a little $5 bill in there. And I'm going to pass these out when I see somebody who looks like they might need a little bit of encouragement. So I spent the afternoon cutting these out and gluing on the little candy, and it gave me something to do. And by the time I was done, I felt better. Like the grief was mitigated some, and I knew I had done something that would encourage somebody else. So maybe do something like that, something for someone else, and know that you're going to get through it. The Bible talks about hope in the midst of our pain. God is a healer of the heart. In Matthew 5:4, it says, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. God knows what you're going through and he's going to heal you. And in Revelation 21:4, it says, the end to sorrow and loss is coming. God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there will be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So we can look forward to that day when all of this is going to be over and all the pain and suffering in this world is going to come to an end. And that can give us a lot of hope. And if you're going through something and you just need more encouragement from the Bible, maybe you want some more promises, let one of us know. Send me a text, send me an email, or one of my team members, and let us know. We'd be happy to share some other scriptures with you or pray with you or just be a listening ear. We're here to encourage you in your journey. Now, some tips for handling loss and sadness. I want to give you CPR. This is not the kind of CPR that you might take as a class, but this is a CPR to help you with loss. So the first one is communication. Seek out those who care enough to listen. Our environment and society today doesn't really like to talk about our feelings. It's kind of difficult sometimes to do that. And you may feel tempted to think you're imposing on others by discussing your loss, but don't let that stop you. Actively seek out someone who will care and listen. God will always listen, but if you need to connect with some people or some professionals, look for them, a pastor, a counselor, a physician, or a support group like this one. We're here for you. So find someone that you can talk to. The next one is participation. Participate in the regular activities of life, moving forward to find meaning in the new normal. And that's kind of what I was doing on Saturday when I was just finding an activity to do. You see, when we participate in an activity, it kind of helps us in our healing process. And expanding into a new social circles and stuff like that doesn't mean you've forgotten the old way or the past. It's just a way of moving forward with a new life and in a new normal that can still have meaning in it. And then the third part of CPR is relationship. While spending time alone can be healing, prolonged isolation can really hinder our recovery. So actively reach out to others to give and receive support, because that's really important when you're dealing with sadness. So I want to tell you another little story. Thanksgiving time was just a couple weeks ago. And I was really sad because this is another loss I've kind of been feeling. My sister is a ICU nurse who works right now. She's filling in for some nurses in Lansing, and she's working on a COVID ICU floor. So she was not able to spend Thanksgiving with us because she was literally saving lives. And I was feeling kind of sad that I wouldn't be able to get to spend the holiday with her. But I thought, what can I do to help me to kind of get through this sadness? And I thought, well, I'm going to make Thanksgiving dinner for her. So I did. I made a small pumpkin pie and some mashed potatoes and gravy and all the trimmings and the sweet potatoes, and packed this all up and drove out to Lansing and delivered it so that she could have a Thanksgiving dinner. And it helped me deal with the sadness I was feeling by doing something that could cheer her up. So that's another thing about relationships. Focus on a relationship that is important in your life, and it'll help you get through some of those sadder times. And the last thing about handling loss and sadness is really take care of your physical health. We've talked about some of these already. Get your fresh air, get your exercise, stock up on those fresh fruits and veggies, those healthful whole grains and nuts. Avoid the caffeine and the alcohol and the soda pop and the tobacco. Instead, stay hydrated and calm with water and some soothing teas. And then focus on the positive things and others. List the blessings you have. Give your cares and worries and sadness to God. Fill your mind with promises. Try out some positive new distractions. Maybe read a good book, or try a new activity, or visit some new place, and look for ways to bless others. Now, related to the topic of sadness and loss is loneliness. And loneliness is a state of discomfort when you feel like your social connections are lacking and you really want to have social connections. And I think this year loneliness is more apparent, maybe because of the social distancing that is happening. And think especially of the elderly who are in nursing homes, or people who are in the hospital and can't have visitors come and visit them. They're feeling a lot of isolation and loneliness. So how do we help people like this? And if you're feeling a lot of loneliness yourself, I'm going to share a couple things for you, but I really want to focus more on how we can help someone who's lonely, because they're all around us. First of all, just a couple promises from God about loneliness. He says that we are not alone, that he will never abandon us in our time of need. In Psalm 23:4, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So this can be very encouraging for anyone who's alone, maybe in the hospital, is sick. You can share this promise with them and let them know they're not alone. God is with them and will comfort them. Isaiah 41:13, for I, the Lord your God, will hold your right hand, saying to you, fear not, I will help you. And Matthew 28:20, Jesus says, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So we don't ever have to be truly alone because God is saying he is always with us. But I want to really look at how we can help people who are lonely. So the first thing I would recommend you do is just a wellness check by phone, preferably, or email or text, if you can't do it by phone. But ask some questions like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you have any needs I can help with? Do you have any holiday plans? Would you like to join me in doing this activity or that thing? Just ask some questions to find out how are they really doing, because they might actually be struggling, especially this time of year. And if nobody's asking, they're never going to have a chance to like open up or share. And sometimes just giving them an invitation can help their loneliness, even if they haven't told you they're really feeling lonely. And I'll give you a couple suggestions of how to do that. One is stop by for a brief social visit to deliver a small gift or a home-baked treat. You know, you of course keep socially distanced, but deliver something to them. Make a little gift basket or something that can just let them know you're thinking of them. Invite the person to join you for a walk outdoors if able. Invite them to assist you in helping someone else. So this one I really liked because, as we already talked about, when you're doing something for someone else, it helps you with dealing with your own pain and loss. And so if we can reach out to those who are lonely and say, hey, I want to make some gift baskets to take to some families that are kind of struggling this time of year, would you be willing to help me with that? Here's a couple food items that you could pick up at the store that we could put in these baskets, or maybe you like to write the little card that would go inside, or maybe you could help me assemble them. You know, just get them involved in some way, doing something with you and that's serving someone else. And that's going to build community, of course, between you and them, and give them an activity to do. And they're going to feel really good as a result. And then I think another way that we can help those who are lonely is invite them to join a community. So that's what these Health Connection Meetups are for, is for you to be able to join me and our team here in this virtual way, but we're building community and we're building relationships together. And that's really important. Now, you might have a community that you can join that you can meet in person. Our church is open on Saturday mornings. Not all churches are, but if you can go in person to somewhere, do, if you feel comfortable doing that. But join a community. Now, I'll tell you about a community that I joined this December, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. This was a fitness challenge. And I like fitness, but I sometimes have a hard time with motivation. And a friend of mine was starting this Advent calendar fitness challenge where every day leading up to Christmas, there's like a devotional from the Christmas story. And then there's some kind of workout that's related to what you've just read in the Christmas story. And I thought that sounded just interesting and fun. So I signed up for this fitness challenge and I have been having a blast with it. We've been doing some fun, it's only 10, 15 minutes a day. So it's not a lot of time, but it's connecting the Christmas story with my workout, like how to do angel wings one day. And anyways, I won't go into all the details, but it's been a lot of fun. So building community with this group, and everyone's posting pictures of what they're doing, has helped me to kind of feel some of that loneliness, mitigate some of that loneliness I had been feeling. Now, another thing is listen and share. Move from small talk to meaningful conversations. Be vulnerable and tell them, let them into your world and heart. This is a time to create intimacy and closeness. Wrap the other person in a hug of love and emotion. So just listening and sharing can help with loneliness. Now, the last thing I want to say about loneliness is an idea I have for each of you I think would be really fun. I have a whole list. of some Zoom social ideas. Now, you all now know how to use Zoom, and you can create a Zoom meeting without having a Zoom account. You get 40 minutes of time before it will cut you out, and then you'd have to start your session again. But you can create your own Zoom meeting and invite some friends, and invite somebody who is maybe feeling lonely, or you don't think they maybe have a lot of social connection. So think kind of outside of your normal group that you hang out with. And here's some of the fun things you might do for your little Zoom event. You can make your favorite holiday hot drink, and all drink your hot tea or cocoa or whatever together. You can show each other all your Christmas decorations by carrying your phone or laptop around your house from room to room and show them what your tree and all that. You could read a Christmas story together or a book together. You could discuss some of your favorite Christmas memories. You can make a recipe together, like a healthy treat, and share the recipe with everyone ahead of time, and then you all make the treat together virtually. You can have a social dinner of soup and crackers, and maybe each tell what kind of soup you made. And the last one is make a craft together. Share a YouTube video that explains how to do the craft, and then all watch and learn and do it together. Now, how does that sound? Does that sound like a lot of fun? If anyone thinks those sound like fun ideas, say, give me a thumbs up down in the chat, or say, yes, I love those ideas. Let me know you are think there might be some fun things to do there. Good. I think that there's a lot of potential here for some really fun group interactions. And so I hope you can take one of these and maybe take a screenshot of this list and pick one of these and do it this Christmas. Maybe do it with some of your family or friends or some people from church. But again, invite someone who might be feeling isolated this year and let them join in on your Zoom. Now, the next area and the last area we're going to talk about tonight is food. And I know that many of you in the beginning said that this is the one that you need help with the most, is food temptations. Now, here you have this table with all these yummy, delicious, sweet things. And this time of year, wow, there's just so many things that you can make. And it can be very easy to fall into a trap that leads to a lot of regrets come January. And I have a little poem here I want to share with you, and I hope the font isn't too small for you to see. 'Twas the month after Christmas, and all through the house, nothing would fit me, not even a blouse. The cookies I'd nibbled and the eggnog I'd taste at the holiday parties had gone to my waist. When I got on the scales, there arose such a number. When I walked to the store, less a walk than a lumber. I'd remembered the marvelous meals I'd prepared, the gravies and sauces and the beef nicely reared, the punch and the goodies and the bread and the cheese, and the way I'd never said, no, thank you, please. As I dressed myself in my husband's old shirt and prepared once again to do battle with dirt, I said to myself, as only I can, you can't spend a winter disguised as a man. So away with the last of the sour cream dip, get rid of the fruit cake, every cracker and chip. Every last bit of food that I like must be banished till all the additional ounces have vanished. I won't have a cookie, not even a lick. I'll want to chew only on a long celery stick. I won't have hot biscuits or cornbread or pie. I'll munch on a carrot and quietly sigh. I wish I had been more disciplined, staying true to the course. I would be far more healthy and not as big as a horse. This year will be different, as I will honor my body, sticking to God's fruit and fiber. I will not be stalled while on the potty. Did you like that poem? Now, I have to admit that the last part of this poem I adapted, and my husband helped me with the last few lines. But I got a lot of laughs when I read this poem, because I thought, wow, isn't that so much like what people are like dealing with when they eat all this food and then they gain all those pounds, and then what do they do come January? Hit the gym and try to lose it all. So maybe we need to make some different choices at the beginning so that we don't run into that come later on. So let's talk about some of the mental blocks that we can might be hurting us when we're dealing with this. So the first is the feel-good factor. Loading the body with chocolate and sugary foods releases serotonin, which is that feel-good hormone. And we like feeling good, so we eat those things because they make us feel good. So that's one mental block. Another is the holiday food shortage mentality. This is the only time of year I'm gonna eat this kind of food, or I get this food. Have you ever fallen into that one? Where you're like, I only get to eat these cookies or this special recipe grandma makes or whatever this time of year. And so I gotta like tank up on it or the eggnog or whatever it is that only kind of comes out this time of year. Then you have the sentimental value food, which says, this reminds me of home, or this just tastes like mom's. And that can again make you like eat more than you should. And then the I don't want to offend anyone by turning down their food excuse. And so you eat and you just keep eating. And then there's the I'll start eating better after the holidays blockade. And then I'll just have one more fill in the blank disaster. So have you ever fallen into one of these mental blocks? If somebody has, just give me a thumbs up or say yes in the comment. Let me know if you can relate to one of these mental blocks. I thought when I went through these, yeah, I have done some of those before. Okay, so I'm seeing a few thumbs up there saying, yeah, I've done some of those. And I think that we have to create a mindset for success. So often we set ourselves up for failure when it comes to food temptations because we have the wrong mindset. So we have to change our mindset, and then we'll be able to overcome these food temptations. So let's look at a typical holiday meal. Now this might be kind of more of a Thanksgiving meal, but sometimes people eat the same things for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So you've got your turkey, 450 calories, your stuffing, 400 calories, your gravy, 300 calories, your mashed potatoes, 350 calories, your candied sweet potatoes, 400 calories, your cranberry sauce, 200 calories, 2 rolls with butter. Maybe you'll go for 3, but we'll say 2 rolls, 300 calories, some English peas with butter, and a slice of pecan pie at 650 calories for a total of 3,200 calories for one Thanksgiving meal. And that's not including Christmas and New Year's and all the food in between. So you can see how easy it is to start putting on those pounds at the holidays. So one of the best ways to avoid eating what you shouldn't is by first eating what you should. So let's talk about eating more of the good stuff. Eat nutritious foods at regular meal times. Choose fresh fruits and vegetables, plant-based, fiber-rich foods, and healthy fats like nuts. And don't skip meals, especially breakfast. Even a small, healthy breakfast will help keep the holiday cravings at bay. It provides energy for all your holiday errands. And research shows that skipping meals will usually lead to consuming extra calories throughout the day. So make sure you eat a good breakfast before you head out into your day. Now let's talk about some tips for healthier holiday foods, because we still like the foods at the holidays that we are familiar with, like that we grew up on. We want to have the gravy and the dressing and those things. So what can we do that maybe can make some good healthy substitutions that will help us not to eat so many calories and not feel so bloated when we're done? So for gravy, consider using a vegetable broth or some healthier fats. Like I like to make a cashew gravy or a nut-based gravy. So you're getting some healthy fats, and it's also dairy-free. In your dressing, use a little less bread and add more onions and garlic and celery and mushrooms and all whatever veggies you want. You can add fruits such as dried cranberries or fresh apples, and moisten and flavor it with the vegetable broth. And that will help cut the calorie count down a lot on your dressing. Now, as far as turkey, we're a plant-based health group, so I would recommend a vegetarian entree instead, such as the stuffed acorn squash that we made at our Thanksgiving holiday cooking class. or a lentil meatloaf. I have a really good one of those I might do next year for one of our classes. Some people are like the tofurkey loaves or some of those meat substitutes, but find a vegetarian entree they can serve as your main piece. Maybe instead of doing the green bean casserole, just season some fresh green beans, steam them with some garlic and a little drizzle of olive oil. You'll cut down a lot of fat doing that. Your mashed potatoes, use an unsweetened soy milk or vegetable broth and seasoning instead of all the whole milk and butter. And that will make those a lot healthier, and they'll still taste really good and nobody will even notice. And then as far as the desserts, consider using some healthy fats like coconut oil for some of the oils rather than doing some of the shortenings. And usually you can take a recipe and cut the sugar down by 1/3 to 1/2 and not really notice a lot of difference. And you cut a lot of calories doing that. Or use some natural sweeteners. I like to use coconut sugar, maple syrup, dates, and these are really healthy and have a lot of nutrients and fiber in them too. And then serve small portions with attractive garnishes like strawberries, grapes, or orange slices. Top your cakes with fresh fruit or fruit sauce or a sprinkle of powdered sugar instead of the fattening frosting. So a few things that you can do for that. Now on the handout that we sent you, the How to Create Healthy Holidays, there was actually a whole spreadsheet that, see if you can see this, maybe not. Anyways, it's not coming up on my screen, but there is a spreadsheet in here that has a lot of these little tips on it. They can give you some good substitutions for your holiday meal. So let's take that chart we looked at earlier that had the 3,200 calories. And now let's look at the substitutions we've just done with that vegetarian entree and that nut gravy and the mashed potatoes with the Smart Balance and the almond milk. And all the whole wheat roll and your fresh green beans, which are only 60 calories rather than 300 some with the green bean casserole, and a small pumpkin pie, 1,275 calories. That's like less than half of what we had on the other list. So you could eat 2 meals like this for the same amount of calories as the traditional holiday meal, just by making some simple substitutions. And you're going to feel so much better afterwards. Now let's talk about some of those holiday meal gatherings that we sometimes might be attending and how you can deal with all the food temptations there. Offer to bring a healthy dish when attending a family gathering. Don't arrive. So bring something that you would eat, something that you know would be healthy, because there may not be a lot of things there that you would want to eat or maybe healthy to eat. So you bring something that you know your family will like, and you'll at least know you have that dish that you can eat from. Don't arrive hungry, really hungry. I mean, you can be hungry, but don't be famished, because when you're famished, you're going to eat more and faster than if you're just a little bit hungry. Before filling your plate, look over everything and ask yourself, what's the best choice that I can make in this situation? And then fill your plate with the good things and take very small amounts, if any, of the higher calorie, sweeter things. So this is a really great tip. Just like look over everything and say, what's the best things here I can eat? Take more of those and only little bits of the things that you know probably are not the healthiest. And then after you finish eating, push yourself away from the table, especially if there's more food on the table, because you'll just keep munching afterwards. Have a happy ending. Share a dessert, sip on some hot herbal tea, go for a walk. That's really good because that helps burn some calories and help with the blood sugar control. And have a conversation with someone you love. At parties, we tend to eat and just keep eating beyond our body's physical hunger just because there's food around. This is one my husband struggles with a little bit. If there's plates of food all over the counter, it's easy just to get up and walk in the kitchen and grab another cookie or grab some more snacks. And we call this recreational eating. So to minimize this, make one small plate of the foods you really want. Eat slowly and savor every bite. When you're finished, pop a stick of gum in or get a glass of water or some non-caloric beverage to sip. And then step away from the food table. Don't position yourself where all the food is going to be so that you're not tempted to just mindlessly keep eating. Now, another thing to think about when it comes to food temptations is actually the drinks too. What we drink at the holidays is just as important as what we eat. And holiday drinks can be loaded with calories. There are fruit punches and sodas and juices and spiced cider. There's eggnogs and hot chocolates and all those special holiday drinks. There's a lot of calories in those. So instead, drink plenty of refreshing water between your meals. It's best to drink between your meals rather than with your meals. And then maybe add some fruit or citrus slices if you don't really like the taste of water, and it will help it taste better. Drink herbal teas or some sparkling fruit juice. So here's some Welch's sparkling grape juice, and we like to get one of those at the holidays if we want something festive to drink. It's non-alcoholic, and it tastes great, but it's a special thing. We don't do that very often. Then it says avoid alcohol and caffeinated beverages. So why no alcohol or caffeinated beverages? Well, alcohol, even in small amounts, compromises brain blood flow, and it can deplete magnesium, which is a major anti-stress mineral. So we're talking about mitigating stress, but if we take something like alcohol that's depleting our magnesium, it's going to make us more stressed. And the caffeine also injects stress hormones into our system. It gives us that quick dopamine effect, but the mental fog and the depressed mood later hits us afterwards. So instead, let's just drink the fresh water or the grape juices. Keep the traditional foods when you have your meals. You want to make memory meals, but just modify the recipes or find some new ones that are plant-based, high fiber, low fat, low sugar, and really focus on the relationships, not all the food. As we close here, I just want to share 2 encouraging words also again from God's word. In Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. God will give us the power to make right choices. When it comes to all these things that we've talked about tonight, we can do everything through his strength. And I have personally experienced that in my life, and I know it works. And then there is strength for the journey. In Isaiah 40:31, it says, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength, and they will mount up with wings as eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint. God has promised strength for your journey that will help you to overcome the stress, the loss, the loneliness, the food temptations, all the things we've talked about this evening. And you will be able to mount up with wings as an eagle. That means you'll have exuberance and freedom. You'll be able to run and not be weary. You'll have strength for action to solve problems and perform tasks. You'll be able to walk and not faint. Sometimes you may not be able to run. You might only be able to do a slow walk, or maybe feel sometimes like you're creeping along inch by inch and just barely able to endure. But God says he's going to help you so you don't faint. And I think that this is so encouraging, and it's a promise I have claimed many times in my life. So that's the end of our presentation tonight, at least our PowerPoint presentation. You can always contact us at mbhealthteam@gmail.com, and our Facebook page is facebook.com mbhealthteam. And our next event will be, of course, January 14th, which is on immune boosting foods, and that is going to be one of our virtual cooking classes. So that takes us to the end of our health presentation. I hope you found something practical there and that was helpful, even if you I didn't come because I really thought I needed any of that. Maybe you did realize you needed some of that. Does anybody concur with that? You can give me a thumbs up. You're like, yeah, some of that did did kind of relate to me. Or maybe there's something that you can share with someone else that maybe is struggling. Would anyone like to maybe just share one thing that you're going to take away from this presentation tonight, just to give me a little bit of feedback?
I'm going to try some of your recipes.
What's that?
I'm going to try some of your recipes.
Oh,
Less
okay.
calories,
All
more
right.
healthy.
Yeah, just some of those little simple substitutions can really make a big difference. Okay, anyone else have something that they are going to take away? Just one thing from tonight?
I like the advice on how to not position yourself near the food. That's a good takeaway for me. I usually end up sitting by the food and just snacking for hours. So that's a good takeaway.
The mindless eating. Yeah, the
Yep.
recreational eating. Yeah, that's a
But
good one.
fantastic presentation on all points. They were very timely and very, I think they'll help a lot of people. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. And you were one who said you didn't need any of this, so.
I said I might. You never know what you need until you hear it.
There you go. All righty. Maybe one more? One or
I
two?
would like to say something.
Yeah.
This was extremely helpful to me.
Oh, good.
Before, when you called on me, I was not able to talk because I felt I was going to break down. So I chose not to mess up. But it has been very helpful. So many different ideas, especially the one about doing something for someone else. When my mom passed away, I used to just for a couple of months just go and give gifts to individuals, and they would wonder, would bring, food and different things, and I would do it in her name. And so that helped at that time to mitigate the pain. And now, it came back when you guys were mentioning that I could start doing that,
Yes.
And begin to feel better, because loneliness is one area where I have been really fighting.
Yeah.
So I live, by myself,
Yeah.
but not really by myself. That last promise that you shared in Isaiah 40:31, that's one that I have used. And thank you for bringing it up again.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear
Appreciate
that.
it.
And Loopy, I know that the Lord's going to carry you through this. He's helped you this far, and he's going to continue to help you. And yeah, review some of these principles again. When we're feeling down, sometimes we just need to connect with others who can help remind us of some of those things maybe we've forgotten that would help us to have a better perspective. And I think you're right. When we care for somebody else, reach out to them, it helps us in our own pain.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
What I used to do when I was in the Red Hats, all of us would spend $20 and go to the Dollar Tree or a dollar store, and we would buy the stockings, and we would fill them with toothbrushes and toothpaste and new combs and ribbons, and depending on for the male or for the female, and then we'd get a lot, like 50 of them between all of us, and we'd take them to a local nursing home and pass them out and sing Christmas carols. And they really loved that. Some of the patients there would cry. They were so glad to see outsiders singing Christmas carols.
Oh, that's such a beautiful thing. I know that the one of the care facilities here in Brighton, I was on a call with some of our businesses earlier this week, and they're having people come in and bring presents to the facility, and they're going to put them in front of the door of each resident Christmas Eve. So Christmas morning, when they open their door, there'll be gifts there for each person.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, if you contact your local Chamber of Commerce and ask, is there some place or some way I can donate something or do something for someone? They probably know some organization in your community that you could reach out to. And even if you're just given like one family or one thing to do, you'll feel really good doing that. So that's a really great suggestion. And I like what you also suggested about the Dollar Tree or the dollar store. You can find so many cool things in there, really inexpensive, and make a little a gift basket or a stocking, like you said, and fill it with all kinds of fun things. And for $10, $15, and just walk out of there with a really nice gift to give someone. And just the fact that you just took that time to do that is going to mean so much to that person you give it to. They won't know that you didn't spend a fortune. They'll just know you thought and cared and did something. So I would encourage someone to do that. You'll enjoy that. Well, as we wrap up here, I just want to, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. our faith group here really cares about you. We pray for you, and we are praying that God will bless your holiday season. If we can be there for you in any way, please let us know. If you want to study the Bible more, or you need some Bible encouragement or promises, let us know. We'd be happy to share with you. And we know that God has plans for your life and family. Whatever 2020 brought your way, a new year is coming, and we don't know what that year will bring. But we know that we won't be alone. We will be there for each other as we go into that new year. So we're so glad that you were here with us tonight. We hope that you'll join us in January for our 2-part series on unity. And we'll be sending that out. And again, if you want to get our cookbook that we're selling out, giving out the Christmas gift, please make sure we have your mailing address so that we can send that to you as our little gift to you for this holiday season. And I think with that, we will wrap up here with a closing prayer. So let me pray for each of you. Dear God, I want to thank you for all my friends tonight that I can meet with. Some I'm just getting to know, some I've known for a while. But I'm thankful, Lord, that they spent an evening with me, taking time to look at some of these health principles that can help us with physical, mental, and spiritual health. And Lord, whatever they're going through this year, I pray that you would stay close to them, help them to get through it. I know that you will be there for them. And I pray, Lord, they can have a good, positive holiday experience. And as we go into the new year, that we can look forward to what you're going to do in our lives in 2021. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all again for spending your evening with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and week, and a very Merry Christmas to you, and Happy New Year, because it'll be the new year when I see you next. So, God bless.
Thank you.
Have a
Happy
wonderful night.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas, Dee.
Merry Christmas.
Very nice. Thank you, Mary.
Good job.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Merry
Excellent.